So very shortly, we're going to go through the squad planning for a higher division, the tactic we're going to use for this season, wiping the slate clean on staffing. I've got a lot to get through here. We've established that loads of these players are about to leave us because their contracts are expiring, and to be brutally honest, not many of them are going to be good enough for the next level. Remember, the next level will equal a key attribute raise from the 4th division, where we went for 10 to 13 for our key attributes. We're going to go to the 3rd division this time, and that rating is going to be 11 to 14. So we're moving up a bit in terms of quality. All in all, there's going to be a massive turnover. Bigger than I want to do. I want to keep the nucleus of the team, but it needs must at this stage. First season, contracts have gone. There's the players that are left that we're going to take some part. Starters, 3 of them. And we've got some on the bench. A lot of work to do. But first, completely out of nowhere, I've got the news bulletin that we are moving stadium. We're going to rent Gondomar's stadium. What this means, and this is probably the earliest this has ever happened to me, is the board have announced plans to enlarge our stadium by another 860 seats. So we need somewhere to play for the next season. So it's going to be there, this beautiful Estadio de San Miguel Gondomar Stadium, built in 1970. It's a little bit bigger than ours, so yeah, we're there for this season. So this has happened early. I didn't expect it. I thought our stadium would be good enough for the league above, but apparently not. And that's where we're going to play for the next season. But it does mean we're going to get ourselves a nice little upgrade to our stadium, which is incredibly surprising if you remember the state of our finances, where we currently sit in the red by £400,000. The prep begins now, and we did say about the coaches what we were going to do, and I've made a tough decision, but it's what needs to be done. We've been brutal and we've sacked everyone. Assistant coach, head of youth development, he's not been good enough. Out goes the fitness coach. 22-year-old coach João Cruz is also gone. I know what you're thinking. That means Valente's in as a coach, right? Unfortunately, it's a bit of a no-go because he's unfortunately not very good at all. His coaching abilities are pretty poor. And then I thought, director of football maybe? No. So we've got our staff search underway. Then out of nowhere, this has came. Tycoon eyes Salgueiros. Already, could we be subject of a takeover bid from a mystery foreign tycoon? Not too sure about that. Will it come off? Probably not, but we'll keep an eye on that. But now, we had to reshape this squad, and we have done so. We've started the process, and I'm quite happy so far. One of the staff that survived was Unborn Pens as chief scout. I was quite happy with him. Our level, judging player ability at 11 and potential at 11, but more importantly, his extensive knowledge around the world, that played into it. So we've kept him, and he's completely in charge at the minute because he's the only member of the scouting team we have left. So he's come up with quite a few recommendations for new signings, but we need to decide if they're going to be good enough. Using our parameters of 11 to 14, that's what we need to look for. Now, we don't just take anyone who hits those targets because it's early days, so we can have a look at them and then weigh it up. Now, I've got a good idea because he's hit the first 3 key attributes I want, and then I can start broadening it out a bit and have a little look further. What's his pace like? What's his finishing and his passing like? He's good. He's in that sort of ballpark, so he is probably someone that we'll look to get, especially if you look at his contract at only £200 a week. With our finance situation, he could be exactly what we need. Not forgetting the save outline. Ideally, we'll be looking for players who could potentially be sellable. So we don't really want to be getting too many players 30 plus. We want to be looking at that potential sell-on range, from like 20 years old and up. So the good news, I spent hours over this past weekend looking for players to build this squad ready for a Liga Free campaign, and I think I'm about there now. If you look at the transfers out section there, those are the players that have been released. An absolute army of them. It left us with a squad of about 3 or 4, but thankfully we have replaced them. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll show you a good chunk. Now here is the squad overview. You can see that it's a decent size now. We've got probably a 25-man squad, something like that, which is about where I want to be. I don't want to be too much bigger than that, and it's got enough cover all over the pitch. First up, this is the boy who's going to replace Diego. This is Z Valente. You can see the upgrade we've got here. His attributes are even on the higher side of the range we're aiming for. We're aiming for 11 to 14. He's got a load coming in at 15, 16. He's probably too good for us. We paid a little bit for him, £825 a week, free transfer. He's going to be the linchpin. He's our new creative threat. We have ourselves some South American influence with Pedro Benique. He's a Brazilian. He wants to play in midfield, but I see him more as a central defender. I'm going to try and make him play a bit of ball. Now, his heading's not great, so it's very important we get someone next to him who can take the burden of that. This is where Dennis Martins comes in. He's 27 as well, so good sell on value potential. Good broad range of attributes, and you can see the key attributes for centre-backs. Positioning, concentration and decisions are all covered, and he's got some nice other ones as well, such as his jumping reach, his marking and his tackling. Very good for this level. Last season we got ripped to bits by Miguel Constantinescu. He was on loan at Paredes, our bogey team. This season he's on loan with us. Now King Abel will be our central midfield on attack, but next to him we now have Yaya Bamba. He's going to be the midfield enforcer, if you like. He absolutely hits the remit of anticipation, concentration, work rate and positioning. With all the creative players around him, he's going to be vital. And late in the transfer window, Umbo Mpenza came up trumps with a brand new goal scorer for us. Off the ball, composure, anticipation, and he can chuck in some decent acceleration, pace and finishing. Bala Sangare at this level could score a truckload. Now we have paid a bit for him, he's our highest earner on £2 a week, but I'm hoping he will be worth it. As with all the players who've came in, he does have a minimum free release clause of 105,000, so this is where these release clauses might come into play. Now overall I'm super happy with the progress we've made. We've got some good players coming now, and we've still got the players that are hanging around from last season. Remember Zapata? Well, the good news is with Zapata, I've now got him a face. There he is. From Peru, he's going to still be there. He'll probably be in rotation with our new striker Sangare. Goalkeeper Shastri is still there, and King Abel and Rodrigo Lima, both injured, will be in the squad. But you can see the turnover we've had, but I'm hopeful that this squad can do the business. Now tactic wise, we do have last season's successful tactic, but it did have some frailties, and I'm just wondering, now we've got better players, can we go for a more gegenpress style and press a little bit more with a sort of classic 4-2-3-1 variation? I may move Volante over here. He's going to have pretty much a bit of a free role now, but we do know that if he sits in there, if the central midfielder on attack pushes up, he will float around, so we don't need to worry. He will move around in match as we see fit. I do expect Constantinescu to be really creative, and I want to give him as much freedom as possible, so that's why in behind him we've got an inverted wing back on defender who'll just sit back and cover these areas. So I've got a decent sized squad now, and the attribute level has definitely gone up. A lot of them now are in that 11 to 14 range that we're looking for from the third level of the competition. However, if we're going to look for a bit more of a pressing style than last season, there's some more key attributes that I need to make sure we've got. And I've got a squad view here that shows that we're pretty much getting there. Okay, so that's my full squad there. 26 or so, I think it's that, 25, 26. We'll go up to views up here, and I've made one suited for gegenpress to see if we've got the right type of player to make it work. We'll select that, and now you can see the key attributes I've got across here. I'm just going to deselect the goalkeepers, because obviously we don't need them to be pressing like crazy. And this is what we're left with. You can see across the top there we've got 8 attributes that I deem kind of essential for gegenpress style. Work rate, teamwork, stamina, natural fitness, decisions, bravery, anticipation, and acceleration. Now a couple of those might surprise some people, but I'm just going for an all-round approach, specifically with the acceleration and decisions. Now, if I look at the squad overall, you can see a lot of those are in the yellow, in that 11 to 14 range, and it's looking pretty good. I think the team, the squad, might be able to handle this style of pressing. Where it may waver is with attacking midfielders and strikers, but if I have a look at it, I'm still pretty happy with it. Some of them are a bit off, but not massively so. They're still in the 10 to 12 range, such as Z Valente. But remember, Z Valente is going to be our freedom fighter. He's going to have positions to just roam around wherever he wants, so I'm not too concerned about him. The rest is pretty competitive, you know. So if you think you want to have a look at your squad in that style, the filter for that view, the gegenpress view, is down below in the description. But it does mean now I've got a few more options. So if in match I feel like we can press a bit more and crank that right up, we can do so. There are a couple of things I'm wondering about. If you remember last season, we had the attacking midfielder in behind the central midfielder on attack, because there was more room here because we were playing a winger. Now here, we've got an inverted winger on attack, so he's naturally going to come inside as well. So I'm just wondering if this gets a bit too crowded. We'll see how that plays as the season goes out. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the 3 options we've got at the minute. We've got this asymmetric style there. We've got a bit of a classic 4-2-3-1 there. And we've got a slightly more defensive version of it there, with team instructions backing off a little bit. Early signs are good. We had a pre-season friendly against top division Firenze and put up a good fight. Game ended 0-0 and they weren't really on top of us. We played a few weaker teams, and again it looked pretty good, dominating each match. This is Benfica's B team we put to the sword. By the way, it was a total accident that I replaced Valente with Velente. It's just a total accident. A happy accident, but he will have the creative freedom. We will move him around in matches as we see fit. So once I got my squad together and I decided on where they were going to play, I wanted to double down on that with a bit of training. So literally every player, I would go to their training and make sure that they were position and role duty they were training in was where they were playing in my key tactic. So even someone like King Abel, the legend from last season, his training would still be all around the central midfield attack position. Some players that I brought in, such as Jeleni Trevisan, a young Belgian, were hitting his position role and duty, but also adding an additional focus to help his overall progression. Now the squad's one thing, but this is my next big update and my favourite one yet. You ready? Remember how we sacked all that staff and wanted to upgrade? Take a look at this. We basically revitalised our entire staffing, and the coaching staff now is the highest in Liga 3. Annoyingly, other than goalkeeper shot stopping, but still, look at that. Recruitment team, although small, again, highest in Liga 3 with a new scout to assist Umbo and Penza and a new director of football. And stop press, we've even got a full medical team. I feel like this is one of the things that gets overlooked when you're going up through the leagues. You just kind of leave your staff as is, but we wanted to really upgrade ours and we've done that. Even my new assistant manager, Ricardo Lima, is way better than what I had previously. The coaches are better than out in double figures, in fact pretty much in the attribute zone for our key players, so we might as well use it for the staff as well. But without doubt the one I'm most excited about is the new head of youth development, whose judging ability, potential and working with youngsters is through the roof, and he's probably too good for us. All that meant I could reassign the coach assignments, making us that bit more well-rounded and a better coach workload overall. So now we're pretty much set. We've got ourselves a brand new captain in Jose Shastri, who's been there since we got there. We've got a new key player in the new Valente, and we've got ourselves a new hot prospect in young Jeleni. Not forgetting the 4 or 5 players we've kept from last season. Hopefully some of them can come up the leagues with us, such as Zapata. So all that leaves us now is Liga 3 and working out the way it works. So initially 2 groups of 10 rather than the 4 groups of 14 in the division below. And it looks like the top 4 from each of these league tables goes into the championship group and the rest go into the relegation stage. Then, if I'm reading this correctly, the top team and the second team get straight up into Liga Portugal 2 and the third place team will go into a playoff. I'm sure some of you have more experience of this league, so if I've got that right, let me know. If I've got it wrong, let me know. So the season preview, by the way, Sporting are 4-11 on to win the league, their B team. But us, in at 9th, we're the best placed of the promoted teams. So a little bit of pressure there, 14-1. We don't have any players in the Dream 11. And in fact, if you look over to the key players section, so this is like basically the whole squad of dream players. We do have Valente in there and our boy Constantinescu. Other than that, that's it. So a big summer rebuild is complete. Complete new staff, complete new squad, decent pre-season in terms of results, new tactic. Let's see how we do.